Oh, hey there. Seems you've come back for part 2 of this project I'm working on. Currently just enjoying a dry day here finally. Had a lot of rain lately. But I'm also out here because the next steps I'm going to do take place outside when possible. You don't have to, but it involves the sealing process of those pads. So if you're coming back after part 1, that means you've seen me prep the area, remove the old toe bindings, and do the paint work touch-up already. Since I have such a nice, beautiful day out here, I'm also just going to give the pads a wipe down. Then we're going to seal the painted areas. So the items we're going to need for this step are, first off, a tasty beverage, then down to the nitty-gritty. Soft, clean cloth, and a little bowl of just warm water, nothing in it. Just get the rag a little damp, Cordura and all. Don't need to scrub them. Just getting the storage dust off them or whatever, you know. Okay, before I finish this pad, I want to do the other pad. I don't want to clean the area that I painted until last. I don't want to scrub these spots that I painted. And I don't want a whole lot of water. I want to rinse that out really well. Just kind of dab at it a little bit. And again, no scrubbing because you don't want to mess up the material there. We haven't sealed this yet. Okay. Set that out to dry. Get the other toe. And now I also want to pull my straps up just a bit. And I'm going to show you why in just a second here. Okay, I need to give those just a little bit in the sunshine. So I'm going to sit here and have a couple sips of my tasty beverage, and then we'll come right back. Now we've given them ample time to just surface dry. We move on to the sealing step. Atco silicone water guard. There's my boy Doug. Atco is one of the very few waterproofing products that you'll find for synthetic materials and fabrics. Works on leather, works on cotton canvas, all that, but if you look at a lot of the other ones, they specifically say that they're not for synthetic materials, and this is synthetic material. We are going to coat those toe areas that we painted with this. On top of that, I'm going to give the whole pad a light misting of it. I have found it seems to help keep pads in great condition. It hasn't ever harmed anything, I guess. Knock on wood. Hopefully we won't have a problem this time either. I'm going to put my tasty beverage out of the way so that none of this mist goes into them, and then we'll spray them down. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray those boot areas that I painted. I usually give it a pretty heavy coat to start. I'm hoping that absorbs and dries a little bit while I mist the face of these pads. Knee rolls are important. And listen, I'm just going with it because I've done this so many times. You should always test this, I guess. You know, before you do it, spot test it on part of your pad. I mean, I'm pretty sure it says it right there in the instructions. Okay, I've given them a coat. My primary there is getting a good heavy coat of this, even though it says one coat coverage, blah, blah, blah. On the painted areas, I go with a heavy coat, and then I just hit them with a mist after I do the rest of the pad. I'm gonna sit down. I'm going to enjoy my tasty beverage. let those dry for a while, and then I'm gonna hit the painted area one more time. Moved them over here to the corner and listen. I know they're on the wrong side. Don't come at me about it. They're on the wrong side so I can get at those painted areas. And yeah, I went on pretty heavy with this spray, even though the instructions tell you that's not necessary. Again, experience. I've done this a few times, trust me. All right, now we're gonna sit and wait. I don't know, I'd give it like 20 minutes in the sunshine, maybe a little more. It'll be pretty much dry to the touch by then. Then we're gonna head downstairs and we're gonna work on the new bindings. All right. So we've let that dry for quite a while, a little more than I probably originally planned for. And now we're going to replace the toe binding pieces. So I have my trusty leather-based sewing stuff here. I've got this piece of Clarino and a little roll of Clarino. So I'm marking it off here for the length that I need to cut, and I'm going to mark that as an outside. So, and then we will mark this one. I'm going to attempt to tuck and fold over and then bring the stitch back through like they did originally. So that's the plan. I can get one more out of this scrap piece. I'm going to cut this one this way. All right, so we got an in and an out and an in and an out. And let's open up the toolbox here. Let me grab my speedy stitch. I want to start right here, that way I can hold my position on this point. They use white stitching all over this thing, so I guess we're going to use some white thread. If you're in this hobby and you don't have a speedy stitch, you are missing the boat. This thing is the most handy tool. I'm going to do this right about here, like that, and then I'm going to run this upside down Okay, we're through the first hole. That's to set it so we keep it on the edge over here. Now, we want to pull it back down, and I want to come over just a little bit towards the toe again to get a nice tight spot. I find it handy to like twist the speedy stitch through. What you want to do is pull back just a little bit, and you'll get a little bit of a loop. Hopefully you can see it on camera on your needle there. And you take the end of your thread at the top and loop it through there. And for me, that usually means getting it tangled on every corner of every item, like buckles, and having to untangle that. Then you bring your needle back down to you. Okay, so I've got that pinned there on the corner now. I'm going to come back over just past the first stitch. And I want to try to stay as square with it as I can. Straight as a line as I can possibly do. So I'm through, and I'm going to pull back. I don't really want this to be a speedy stitch tutorial video. There's plenty of those out there. If you need to know how to use one of these things the right way, I recommend you look those videos up. Okay, we looped it through, and we're just going to step over again, pull back. We got a loop. I think at this point, I'm just going to fast forward this part. So now I've got a fairly straight line across there. So I want to tie this off now. I'm going to start fresh. I thought I could do it all with one thread. I'm just not sure that I'll be able to without looping the thread around an end. And I still want to start over here on the toe side anyways, because that's going to be my square edge to start. Right out of the speedy stitch, so that when I bring this out, I have both ends on the same side. Snug it up, do a square knot. And trim those pretty close so they don't end up sticking out. See that the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to bring this back down around like that, and I'm going to sew up again. But the way Vaughn did it was there's no visible thread in the binding, so the thread's going to come up behind the binding here through the Cordura, and that's what's going to hold the bottom part of this down. First thing we want to do is snug this pretty tight, but now the trick is get it so that it stays snug. If I see it poking out the wrong spot, that's pretty close. So pull back, grab my loop, pull my thread up through here. Normally I would leave that thread short there until the first one is through, then pull it through and make sure I'm about 50-50. I don't know why I wasn't doing that, but we came out just above that stitch line there, and that's really as good as I'm gonna get. So now we got to pull it back through carefully. We don't want to pull a whole lot. Okay, pull it back just a little bit to make my loop. Run my thread through the loop. Pull down. Now the trick on this is continuing to keep this snug to the next position and drill it up through there and hope I'm coming out in the right spot on the other side. All right, this one's going to be my final stitch. So I don't want a knot on top, which means I want to use it to pull this through to the bottom side. So I pull it and then hook the bottom loop and pull that through and cinch them together. And again, I just use a square knot for these. It's a regular knot, like first tie into your shoe, and then do it again, but with the opposite direction. There's no sense me videoing that same process 4 times and adding 20 minutes to this video. So I'm going to shut the cameras off and I'm going to finish all of these and get back with you with some other thoughts on the project here. So you might be asking yourself why this video isn't done yet. Go ahead. Oh, thank you. Well, that's because I took another 2-day break. I'm here with my buddy Cliff.
Cheers.
Hold on. Do it again.
Cheers.
And we decided to have dinner together. So if you don't know my buddy Cliff, I've talked about him a few times. He has a podcast and a YouTube channel called Total Michigan.
Boom.
It's pretty awesome. Make sure you check it out. I'll put a link in the description below. And all right, let's get back to my video. Just finishing up this last toe binding. Okay, take my scissors, nip the tail off. Now, let's take a look at this end here. I did on the other one was I tapered it up like that. So, that's the last of the toe bindings. Let's grab a set of laces. And it looks like we're getting low. I never did look it up to see if these should have toe buckles or not. So for now, we're just going to throw a set of laces on. There we go. Hopefully you can see in these videos here a substantial difference in the way this looks. There's a link below to watch the unboxing. Just skip forward probably 15 minutes or so to where I actually unpackage them, and you'll see that what they look like, or go back to the beginning of this video even. This should last me pretty decently. I'll probably definitely have to do a little bit of touching up here and there. Yeah, again, like I said at some point in this video, like this is making them look good for photos and on the ice from the stands and for the other team. I'll touch them up as needed, but for now, it's a darn good looking set of pads with that little bit of touch-up work and a little bit of basic sewing with some basic material here. I'm not a know-it-all about all this. I just kind of work my way through it, and I know that if I make a mistake, it's not usually, you know, end of the world type stuff. That last section of toe binding I did on the other pad there, I'm not the happiest with it. I was a little close on the fold edge, you know, when it was first on, so where I folded over, but it ended up looking pretty darn good on that pad. I adjusted it as I went. So yeah, there you go. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell all your friends. If you got any questions, comments, drop them down below. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram channel. And as always, thanks for watching.